Good evening. I'm drinking a beer I haven't had since over a year ago, and I don't think Trillium has even made it since last summer. And it's also the last day of summer, unfortunately, but I'm drinking Summer Street. It's their Simcoe hopped beer. I guess this is double dry hop Summer Street. And I am realizing that Simcoe is a really cool hop. I used to think that I didn't like Simcoe hops, but that was because I didn't understand it. Didn't understand how old IPAs tasted bad, and I didn't understand that there was a whole bunch of Centennial in just about every IPA over 5 years ago. This one is only flavor and aroma of the Simcoe hop. I guess the Columbus plays in a little bit, but just like all the other street IPAs, they use Columbus for bittering primarily. It was canned yesterday, and if you want to know more about the Trillium Street beers, just go look on their website. I always talk too much about the ingredients. It is 7.2% alcohol, and I'm excited to explore this one because the tab didn't get in there. Get in there. All right, I'm excited to explore this one because Simcoe can kind of be an all over the place hop. Usually it's paired with other hops. I don't know of many other like IPAs that feature Simcoe prominently without something else. And yep, that looks like a Trillium Street IPA. Whew. Poured it with an extra head in there because this tab didn't go in all the way. And also it hasn't been sitting in my fridge for weeks, but that is crazy opaque. I've noticed that when I let a can sit in my fridge for, a couple days to weeks, it gets squishier and I can tell the pressure's lower, so it seems like the carbonation is lower and there's less head. But with this one, because of that weird pour, it got stopped up by the tab not going all the way, and also it being really fresh, not being able to sit in the fridge. I think it's got ample carbonation, and the head is a little bit thin, but that's probably because of the pour. It's a little bit bubbly, but really opaque. Like, even when I hold it up to the light there, it brightens the color a little bit, but you're not seeing through that. And then the aroma smells very good. I can get it already. It's everywhere. Their double dry hopping at Trillium never disappoints aroma-wise. Ooh. Oh, yeah. I love Simcoe because it's so different from all the other hops I've realized. Like all these tropical fruity ones, like Simcoe has that a little bit, but there's a lot of like red berries and melon in Simcoe. And it's not like melony Idaho 7 or El Dorado that have a lot of lime, woody elements. Simcoe is always juicy, like super ripe watermelon. And some peaches in there too. And I definitely get some kind of berries, like maybe not quite blueberry, but maybe strawberry in there, but it's not very citrusy in my opinion. Like there's a very soft orange, mandarin orange type thing, but I'm not getting, pithy orange or bitter grapefruit much at all. I'm not noticing even that much ruby red grapefruit. And this is actually exactly what I'm in the mood for right now. A lot of these Trillium beer reviews, sometimes they don't give super high ratings, sometimes they do. It kind of depends on my mood almost. But right now, I am all about drinking this Simcoe hop beer. Ooh. It's soft and grainy on the palate like Trillium usually is, but then there's this. It does get a little bit woody, a little bit of an herbal tea thing, but not unpleasantly so. And it doesn't like move into a piney territory too much, in my opinion. With the aroma was a lot more soft than the taste, in my opinion. It's a little bit sharp. And now I'm getting, in the flavors, a bitter grapefruit, actually, mixed in with a little bit of more like cantaloupe melon happening. and a slight pine, very slight pine, I'd say, happening. But yeah, that's interesting. The aroma was really soft, and then the flavor is a little bit heavier hitting. And I guess now it's kind of glowing a little bit nicer in the camera there. And I'm getting a little bit of booze in the nose, that seems to always happen after I take the first sip. Yeah, but the bitterness is pretty on the edge here. It seems quite a bit more bitter than Congress Street and some of their other street IPAs I've had, which is interesting because I don't know if they really use the changing hops much for the bitterness. It just has to be with the perceived bitterness. But yeah, now there's a lot of woody herbal tea. The stuff I was saying I didn't notice in the aroma at first is coming out. And now I'm noticing more citrusy elements. That's really cool. And it does have almost a tart thing happening, but the bitterness is pretty edgy. What I'm not used to in Trillium beers most of the time. And now it's getting a little limey. Yeah, I'd have to say that I like the aroma maybe a little bit more. And the flavor is still really good, but now it's tasting more like an Eldorado sort of hopped beer, which has that melony and lemony and piney and kind of the strawberry elements going on in there. And now this is reminding quite a bit of Eldorado. Like, I thought Eldorado was such a weird hop when I first started tasting it, and then I realized quickly, oh, it's not too far from Simcoe, and it's actually got a little bit of a pine citrusy thing that reminds me of older hops. I think I was just drinking so many tropical fruity hops that it's fun to return to these ones, or return to these kinds of flavors that I'm used to in your more classic IPA, but done in the juicy Trillium IPA style. Yeah, now I'm getting a little more used to the bitterness, and I'm not quite getting like the creamy vanilla cake like I get from Citra and Galaxy sometimes. But I'm not getting a lot of weird greenness happening in this, I've just realized. Like very light green onion maybe, but nothing, it's not garlicky, it's not like bell peppery or anything. Maybe I'll like wait a few days and let my second can mellow out and see how it is. I usually am all about drinking these beers as fresh as possible, and I'm kind of a little bit like confused and unnecessarily annoyed when people are like, oh yeah, you gotta get that beer and then let it age for 3 weeks, then that IPA is the best. Like, as I like to say, as the brewers, they 99% of the time release the beer when it's ready to be drunk. And I feel like that's when I want to drink it freshest. That's when I'm the most excited about it. That's when the carbonation and everything is going to be intact, when everything is still going to be in solution in the beer. Nothing's going to fall to the bottom. Not that aging certain beers isn't great, but especially with IPAs, just drink them fresh. And don't hoard them too much, so everyone can have a little bit, unless you're going to hoard it to share with friends. But this is smelling like a really clean citrus, quite bitter, like a bitter grapefruit sort of feel. The aroma is still pretty melony. Light lime. And maybe sort of nectarine peach sort of thing. It's like not quite all out peach or all out orange. But a really fun beer. Ooh, I like that sip quite a bit. It's like that's what I love about these beers, that there's so many different flavors happening with the hops that evolves throughout the tasting. This one's not creamy. It's not a creamy orange Julius type thing, vanilla cakey, but it's got a lot of interesting fruit flavors going on, and I find it pretty palatable. So we'll do 88, 89, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, it's very, very beautiful. So, try a Simcoe hopped beer for me. Bye-bye.